Capital One seems to be stepping up their game by adding more transfer partners. Are they any good, or is this just marketing fluff and is it trash? Today, we're going to talk about that. My name is Sean, and I'm here with my co-host.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sherwin, and today on the Credit Card BS podcast, the new Capital One transfer partners. Let's begin with the most interesting one of the new ones, perhaps. And that is Japan Airlines. Japan Airlines is interesting because it's not a partner that most other banks have. In fact, to my understanding, only Bilt has it, and they transfer one-to-one. Neither Chase nor Capital or nor Citi nor American Express have this, so it's a more unique one. Unfortunately, it is not a one-to-one transfer from Capital One. It's 2 to 1.5. Now, hopefully, there will be transfer bonuses, and at launch they had a transfer bonus which made this 2 to 1.95, so almost one-to-one, which is great. If they can have this more often periodically, I think that would be pretty awesome. So, Sean, what do you make of this Japan Airlines transfer partner? Is it something you're going to utilize? Are you concerned about the 2 to 1.5 ratio? What are your thoughts?
So I find this to be a very interesting partner, especially because with booking on like Japan Airlines, you're going to have access, especially at Calendar Open, to much greater award space. And I think the award redemption rates, especially for like business class being 5K North America to Japan, are very competitive. Like that is extraordinarily competitive. If you're saying I could pay 55K miles to fly the new JAL product from the US to Japan, this is very good. But yes, I am very concerned about this transfer ratio. I find 2 to 1.5 to kind of kill a lot of the value you get with it. Not that I wouldn't use it per se, but for example, this like launch transfer bonus at 2 to 1.95, essentially 1-to-1, that is really good. If we could get this to be a 1-to-1 ratio, the same thing as Bilt, then this would be great. This would be extraordinarily competitive. It would make Capital One miles super valuable in my opinion. So I think I could use this for sure. Even at the standard ratio, I could see myself using it just because it's so cheap to book business class on the JAL award chart, relatively speaking. But the transfer ratio does kind of kill it a bit. Like 55K miles one way business class is kind of similar to what like ANA charges one way in business, somewhat. Maybe ANA is a little more expensive. So I'm viewing using Amex to ANA is a little better in this regard. Of course, JAL is the new product, so there's give or take, but it's good. I wouldn't say it's like S tier yet. If we get the 1-to-1 transfer ratio, then I would call it S tier.
Yeah, I think if they can have this type of transfer bonus at least like 2/5 of the year recurringly, it would be pretty solid. So let's hope that this transfer bonus comes up as not just this one-time thing that they put out at launch.
Yes.
And Japan Airlines also has a very solid partner award chart. It's entirely based off of trip distance. So you can get pretty good awards on like Air France and other things in the One World, right? Yeah, Air in One World. Yeah, so they have good award chart even on their partners as well. And it's all fixed based on distance, not based on pricing. It's not dynamic, which is awesome. The one thing you should keep in mind is that if you want to fly first class from North America to Japan, there are 3 buckets, and it's depending on season. It can range from 110K to 125K or 140K on the high peak seasons. And it's based on dates. It's all on the website. You can check it out. Okay, let's talk about the other new Capital One transfer partners, starting with Qatar. Qatar Airways, Avios, is a new transfer partner. It's 1-to-1. This is not very interesting because Capital One already transfers to British Airways, which uses the same exact Avios currency. You can exchange Qatar and British Airways Avios very easily on their respective websites. So this does not add any new value whatsoever, in my opinion.
I agree entirely. I think this is like, it's not same thing as BA. No point to it. Let's move on. The other transfer partner that they added is Preferred Hotels at a rate of 1-to-2. Now, this is interesting in theory, but the problem I have personally is that Citi offers a transfer ratio to Preferred Hotels at 1-to-4. And look, I'm not saying you couldn't get value necessarily at 1-to-2. I mean, maybe on certain specific redemptions you could. But I, in good faith, cannot argue that a Capital One mile is worth half of what a Citi mile is in like any case. So I would have a very tough time of me personally transferring over to Preferred Hotels from Capital One. I would want to do everything in my power to use Citi just because it is quite literally double the ratio.
Yeah, I feel like they have a lot of ratios that are just worse than Citi. So Preferred Hotels is one example. Eva Air as well Capital One transfers 2 to 1.5 as opposed to Citi, which does that 1-to-1. I think Choice as well. Is Choice a Citi transfer partner? I think they transfer 1
Yes,
to.
I believe Choice is 1-to-2.
Yeah, and then it's
Choice,
1-to-1 on Capital
obviously,
One.
exactly, which is like, yeah,
Yeah, I
very
wonder
recurring
if
pattern we're seeing.
are there deals and contracts really that different where they have to have different transfer partners to be profitable? I'm actually very confused by this. Like, why is Citi 1-to-1 with Citi? Why is Eva 1-to-1 with Citi, but then Capital One can only get 2 to 1.5 for many years now? Is Eva Air really selling the miles to them at a very different price point, or is it just Capital One hasn't felt the need to make their redemptions good?
I would imagine it is either like maybe some pre-negotiated contract that maybe Citi was able to get in at a better price, or more likely, my best guess is just that that Capital One wants to have a tighter control on the economics of their reward redemptions. Maybe they have data showing that if we have this specific transfer ratio, a lot of people are going to use this. I would imagine that the cost of the miles is actually fairly similar between both issuers, and that Capital One just does not want to risk a ton of people transferring out at a very expensive ratio. That is my best guess. But yeah, it is frustrating to see.
Yeah, it's not like Citi has worse multipliers either, right? Like you can get double cash, which is 2x on everything, which is same as Venture X and Venture, which gives you 2x on everything. In fact, Citi has better multipliers than some of the other cards, like custom cash, or you can get 5x on a category, or their premier cards, you can get 3x on a lot of categories. So if anything, people are probably earning more points faster on Citi cards, yet they still have better transfer ratios. So I think Capital One really needs to step up their game on these transfer ratios and make them on par with their competitors.
I agree. It seems like a lot of Capital One's marketing has just been, we're going to get these interesting transfer partners so we can say we have more transfer partners, but then we're just going to have a really shitty ratio. And then somehow like this is going to work out. Like it's not working out. And it's even when they launched transfer partners, if people remember way back when Capital One initially launched having transfer partners, they just had really bad ratios across the board. And then eventually they changed them to be like mostly good. And that's when the cards started becoming interesting and all this stuff became interesting. Because it was like, yeah, we have this card that earns 2x and everything, but we have this really awful redemption rate. And so it's like, doesn't really matter that you earn 2x and everything.
And
It is,
keep in mind for Capital One miles, you can't cash out 1 cent per point. The cash out rate is 0.5 cents per point. I mean, you can use the travel eraser and sort of get statement credits back, kind of like cash back at 1 cent per point, but still, that's not the default, right? So
yes.
yeah, so like generally, it like you kind of need to know a little more of what you're doing with Capital One, say compared to like Chase or Citi, where it's more straightforward on what the points are worth, whether it's cashing out or a transfer.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on these new Capital One transfer partners? Let us know down in the comments below. And Sean, why don't you plug our memberships as well as our Discord?
So yeah, if you want to get some access to exclusive content that we can't talk about publicly, exclusive deals, hacks, tips like that, check out the memberships below. Look at the join button. If you're a platinum member or higher, you can see exclusive member-only videos. And if you want to connect with an elite group of award travelers and credit card enthusiasts entirely for free, check out the Traveling Discord group at the link in the description. You will learn a ton, I promise you. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week.